Welcome to the Create with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on wellness, faith, marketing, business, and travel to create a life and business you love. I've been there, friend. I've walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, along with transformation in every area of my life. I'm right here with you, walking along on my own path to create it. So tune in so that you learn how to create a life and business you love, hands-on. Let's create it. Welcome back to the show, and I'm super excited and grateful that you're here. In this episode, I'm diving into 7 minutes to create it as I have outlined my week, as well as some spotlights and things that I am celebrating that I just posted on Instagram. But first, I wanted to shout out an incredible new podcast that I discovered thanks to God and the YouTube algorithm working amazingly, called Hardly Initiated, and it's hosted by Ryan and by Tisha-An, and they have incredible episodes like What Women Don't Understand about Men and the Mental Health Crisis with Lawrence Aja, and so many other episodes, you guys. I legit watched, I think, 4 to 5 plus episodes today. You can find them on YouTube, on iTunes, on all the things. And I may be on the show soon, so stay tuned because I just shared some stories and all the things with them as well too. So let's talk about 7 minutes to create it, and let's get into what this week looks like and what I'm celebrating. So first, on my Instagram, if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, follow me at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation. And I found this incredible audio from the Motivation Mood, and the rule every day is to create it. So when I heard that audio, it completely resonated with my vibe. And some of the images that you can see that I shared to celebrate ways to create it, because that's the thing I want you guys to get, is to create it like a boss every single day with the faith, with feeling the fear, with leveling up, with all the things, because anything that you see that I've created literally started with a thought. Like if you go back to Genesis, everything started with literally a word spoken and then an aligned action. Faith without works is dead. So some of the things and the images I captured, both past, present, and future, included an event that I hosted in Atlanta years ago called Fitness Fuses with Fashion. And there's something exciting coming up this summer and fall, so stay tuned, that I got sponsorships with Big Peach Running Company, Athleta, Nike, Lenox Mall, True Foods Kitchen, of course, Herbalife was featured. If you don't know my story, definitely check that out on my pinned post and on previous episodes of losing 55 plus pounds 7 plus years ago, being alcohol free, so much more. Shout out to Delroy Harris and his incredible song Hope that I featured in the video for Fitness Fuses with Fashion. That is featured on my YouTube channel at Limitless Global Girl. I also had partnerships for that event with Art Institute and students and so much more. Also, I was celebrating on the post, so definitely follow and check it out because, a picture's worth 1,000 words, or in this case, a video. Retreats that I've hosted in Costa Rica and Cuba alongside Airbnb, alongside Weekend Voyagers, Hey Ashley Renee, Jennifer Moria, Carly Nagowski, and so many more people. I'm also celebrating 600 plus episodes on the show. Thank you, you guys. It's because of you that we reached top 100 last year. So maybe let's accelerate that or create that further and leave a review on the show. So thank you to all those that have left reviews. I've got 50 plus ratings on the show. Super grateful. 500 plus blog posts, 15 plus freebies that you can go to the link in bio and check out, from guides to webinars to meal prep to things on money, business, marketing, travel. And speaking of which, previews on courses. I had an amazing call this week on Tour Hero Travel with an Ecuador retreat coming in 2024. Maybe depending on what aligns, I may host something sooner. We'll see. Shouting out communities like ATL Rising Women, ATL Girl Gang, Buckhead Business Association, the Home Depot Backyard, social curators that I'm part of online, We Team, B School with Marie Forleo, all the things on the path as I create it like a boss. So much more coming soon with events in Atlanta via Fit Life Creation. And then in the image, I also shared an incredible NFT image that I co-created. More is coming up on that. And inspiration from my BFF at my BFF and Robin NYC via Peloton on something that I have exciting that's coming up with NFTs later this summer. So, okay, I said that this episode was going to be 7 minutes to create it, but I just realized that I'm already at 5 minutes with the celebration. So, full disclaimer, it's going to be a little longer. So, maybe this is a combo episode. It's like 7-ish minutes to create it, and then a spotlight on my week on what comes up. So, the intention behind this, you guys, is to also help you start to get in the mindset for you to jumpstart and create it. Because in June, I am going to start hosting videos on my YouTube and on the show to jumpstart your week to create it. And then end your week like Thursday-ish, because I am big on Friday taking kind of a flex / divine download / Selah, which biblically means pause. So, and to literally be focused on jumpstarting and then celebrating, and really for that to be your focus every single day. Because so many times we get in this mindset of not enough, of lack, of scarcity, as opposed to really, really focusing on the progress that we're making and focusing on progress over perfection. And one of the things that I've been really reflecting on is how much further I am now than this time last year. Whether it is in alignment, whether it is in energy, whether it's in flow, in healing, and creating an income, in result, and all the things. Whereas this time last year, I was literally coming back to Atlanta, literally like the 12th, 13th, after almost 2 years of full-time travel. And it was such an adventure and such a vibe, but also very, very different on the level of focus and alignment from actual co-creation. Now, don't get me wrong, I had plenty of adventures, plenty of co-creation, and it was exactly what my soul needed and what was called to. So, on planning, I am a huge, I love using things digitally. I use a dashboard like ClickUp. I use a scorecard that I created in Excel, and that is something I teach in my online courses and in my events and workshops and retreats. But I am also very, very old school in writing things down. You guys, if you didn't know, it's literally when you write things down over and over and over and put things pen to paper, there's crazy statistics that, and I've read books like Secret of Success is Not an Accident by Tommy Newberry. There's literally stats from Harvard and so many different other organizations that when you write things down repeatedly, inevitably your goals end up manifesting. Because what happens is our neural pathways are aligning, they are focusing, and you are co-creating, and inevitably every single day you start to focus, and then the actions align, the feelings align, and literally like my whole life is a representation of that. And it's interesting because at a certain point I had kind of forgotten that, and also that write a vision down and make it plain. And once I got that again circa back in 2013, it was game over, because I had realized that, wait a minute, post a certain point, I had stopped doing that. And I was like, ooh, the enemy and the devil is real and a lie. And let me make sure that I keep this habit for the rest of my life. So in addition to the electronic tools, and also keeping time blocking and keeping things aligned on my Google Calendar. I also use the Passion Planner, and Angelique, and the founder of the Passion Planner, and what she did with Kickstarter is such a vibe, and their goal setting workshop. So definitely shout out to the Passion Planner team. So I write things out on my Passion Planner Passion Planner. So I'm literally going to go through that. I also have a faith journal always, and I write things down like my Sacred 7 morning routine. And right now, my journal has on it, it's purple from Amazon. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I also have written down prayers to my future husband. I also have an inner child workbook that I'm walking through right now as far as written things. So let's get into my week and how I am choosing to create it right now. And side note, with the Passion Planner, Angelique and her team they're amazing. If you want to get a planner, you can absolutely get one, but they also have PDFs that you can download, fill out digitally, and or print. So it's such an amazing way that they give to the community. So I really, really want to shout out the Passion Planner team. So as I was outlining this week, May 14th through the 20th, my focus is launching and getting 10 to 100 people in my How to Build Your Brand with Influencers online course. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you can see that via the link in bio and the free webinar. So today is Sunday as I'm recording this. And Sunday, I really, really have typically a Selah day where I'm downloading what happened in the week. I am thinking about, what's coming up. I am intentionally seeking and gaining wisdom, etc. Speaking of course, this is Mother's Day. So shout out to all the mamas out there. Shout out to anyone that is with their moms, anyone that maybe has a complicated relationship with their mom, anyone that desires to be a mom, we are all, I believe, spiritual mamas in some way, shape, or form. I do desire to be a mama one day. I do desire and intentionally desire to do it God's way, to first be a wife, then a mama. And I have an amazing mama. So, mommy slash Shishi Lala, I'm going to send this episode to you so you can be embarrassed. And I have literally, you guys, I am blown away. It's not even, I don't even want to say it's age. It's simply reflecting and being intentional and being overwhelmed. The more I experience my mother on earth, the more I am blown away in gratitude and just humility and just so much love for this woman that is legit like an angel sent for me. Like literally, like and I know there's a lot of different insights or wisdom behind that, and I do believe our souls align to the parents that we need to align to our purpose and our healing and divine design and so many different things. And you guys, I just have so much gratitude for my mom. I love you so much, Shishi. She has poured out so much unfathomable, limitless, unconditional love into me that it blows me away all the time. Like the most selfless and incredible human I've ever met. And I don't say that lightly. And if anybody was to ever ask me, like, who, like if you could meet any 5 people or you could have 5 people in your circle, like my mom 100% would stay in my circle, because it's just, as my story goes on and as I unfold and share more and more with you guys, just some things I'm walking through right now, like my mom, like her love and her grace, mommy, you just blow me away. So, shout out to all the Mother's Day mamas and all the future mamas. And what I did today is I really poured in wisdom. Well, I did my Sacred 7 morning. I did my Peloton workouts. I journaled. I outlined my week. And I ended up finding, the podcast that I talked about at the very, very beginning. So I did that, planned my week, did some meal prep, some cooking, just some different things. And so today, Sunday is really, really like a flow day for me. So that was, some of the flow. And sometimes I am a member of Transformation Church online. So sometimes I do listen on Sunday very intentionally. Sometimes I do go to Live Atlanta. in person. Lady, an amazing new friend I met from Peru. Sometimes we would go together, but she's actually in Alabama for the summer, and they're not on the MARTA line right now, and I don't have a vehicle right now. And so, some of the things, which is interesting, I will be helping out a friend that is going to Bolivia for a couple months with her family for a couple months coming up in June and July. I'll share more on that on another episode soon. And I shared on it before. And then I will be moving to Midtown. I may travel in between. I will be moving to Midtown via Hello Landing. So my apartment is about half packed now. And so, what does the week look like, and how am I creating it? So, one, you guys, I want you, when you think about your week, no matter what space you're in, corporate, which when I was in corporate for years, I've always told people is set out and plan your weeks just like an entrepreneur, or an intrapreneur is another term. Because even when I was in corporate, I always had side hustles. There was never a time like that I did not have side hustles at all. And that stems going all the way back to me being a Girl Scout. Way back when I was 6 years old, when that started my entrepreneurial journey. That is on the show. I think I talk about it on Story Time. And anyway, go back to some of the past episodes and you'll see it for sure, because I talk about how I started in entrepreneurship. And so, number one, no matter what space you're in, think about and outline your week by priorities. So, what I realized a couple years ago was, so write this down. Not all work is valid work, or just because you're busy doesn't mean you, what's the quote? I had it in my head and I lost it. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you are making bold moves, or doesn't mean you're making the right moves. So just because you work doesn't mean it's working. So any of those things, as you think about it, and I'm constantly, so as I evaluate and divine downloads and shift perspectives, priorities, purpose, I'm constantly thinking about, okay, where is my time going and is it impactful? So between Sundays and Mondays, I'm always thinking about, okay, what actions to take to where by the end of Monday, I usually feel like, a boss, that I'm like, even if I did nothing else the rest of this week, I can already see like all the moves made were massive and are creating inevitable results, whether it's now, today, next week, next month, etc. So for example, every day I start typically with my Sacred 7 morning. So definitely listen to some of my past episodes on that, a fasted workout. And then on Mondays, typically I listen to a prayer call with Epic Fab Girl. And then I go into my B2B to C, business to consumer launch, which like I talked about right now is the course, but that's also aligning to my fractional CMO program and influencer management, because it aligns to that. And you will see more content coming up with that. So for example, I am recording this episode where I talked about some of the previous, activations, brand projects, etc. Then I am also going to share on some upcoming episodes, likely between, tomorrow and the rest of this week, on the projects I had with Costa Rica, with Perlu, with Airbnb, with the retreats with Cuba, etc. Then tomorrow and several times this week, I'm going to set up automated emails in Kajabi. And because I already have templates, it usually takes less than 15 minutes. And I've implemented quite a bit with Chat GPT. You guys, if you are not using Chat GPT yet for your launches and or personalizing them, you are missing out. Then one of the posts I'm going to do between Monday and Wednesday this week, likely, and it'll be on the show, is 5 steps to launch with AI and IO. So if you don't know what IO is, it is input output tools. So there's an incredible tool I've been using the last 2 to 3 weeks called Apollo.io, which is sick for LinkedIn integrations and directly reaching out to decision makers on business to business. So part of my launch with the influencer course has been reaching decision makers to also feature, for example, influencer marketing platforms in the course, and corporate sponsorships and other things as well. So again, write this stuff down because I'm giving you away millions of dollars of information that when and if you choose to apply it, hashtag create it, can literally change your life and your business. So then the other thing I want to talk about, you guys, is white space. I learned, number one, give yourself grace. I tend to be very, very focused and driven. And I used to like literally not eat, not take time for myself years ago when I was 55 pounds heavier. And also, a lot of times we tend to overestimate what we can get done in a day and underestimate what can happen in a year, 2 years, 3 years. And either way, I give myself grace. Like if I get redirected divinely in a day or in an hour, I redirect unapologetically. Like I did way more last week than the week before because I also freed up so much of my time with some tools and my virtual assistants. But then I shifted some things on Friday and Saturday on my NFT project and the summit because I was like, okay, I already did a lot. And then also I kept feeling pulled Friday and Saturday to pour in more wisdom, like with RC Blakes. He's amazing if you don't follow him. And then I went to an event, the High Museum, a wellness event in the evening with Oasis, which is a whole wellness vibe, and got an amazing connected with the events coordinator on some possible things that I may be co-creating with the High. Prayers up, up, up. Then back to the passion planner. So I have space in my calendar tomorrow, weather holding, to go dance. If you don't know about the Home Depot backyard, they host incredible fitness events with the community, and there's an amazing dance class on Mondays that you definitely want to check out. You can find Home Depot Backyard on Instagram, on Eventbrite, all the things. So back to the planner. Some of my personal to-do list, because I want to mention this too, is Bible reading. I mentioned Epic Fab Girl. Another thing that I am going to talk about on some episodes coming up is therapy, is EMDR, which is a helpful modality, eye movement dissonance resonance, if I'm saying the acronym right, that I've gone through therapy 3 different times for a year straight each time. I'm a huge advocate of faith, prayer, but also practical modalities, i.e. faith without works is dead. Like I hope you just don't sit around and kumbaya and do nothing, or, like you can't delegate a workout to someone for your own body. So there's many, many things that we get to do ourselves, right? So besides EMDR, one of the other modalities or therapies that has come to me the last several years, and I've been increasingly focusing on this, is EFT. So EFT is emotional freedom technique. You can connect with incredible practitioners on YouTube, like Cassandra Bodzak is one of my faves. Melanie from the UK, also like just put EFT Melanie. You should find her channel. Pitbull mindset. So those are 3 that I follow avidly, but also what you're going to realize with EFT, because it connects the neural pathways in your brain, plus what you're speaking, plus different places you are tapping on your face. You are literally pulling out different lack thoughts and beliefs in your mind and literally rewiring your mind. So it ties so much to Romans 12:2, being transformed by the renewing of your mind. And you guys, I literally feel like the Holy Spirit has been compelling me this year, increasingly in EFT, but really like the last 3 to 4 weeks, it's been crazy, like the acceleration on tapping with healing, with finances, with different things. Because what I realized, especially in doing the inner child workbook and some of my transformation in different areas of life, there was so much trauma in my life from past experiences, say as a child, around love and money and family. And let's be honest, it just popped in my head, that song. It's like, let's just be honest. Let's just be real. It's on an Instagram reel. I can't think of who sings it. Now I'm going to Google it. Anyway, we all have trauma around different things. And like the more you pay, like when I lost weight and then when I stopped drinking 7+ years ago, I became, and I am so aware of like my body and my feelings, and then how I react to people, to situations. Like my discernment is crazy to anything, like anything that I'm reacting to in any like lack way, and anything that is being heightened in a sense for me to heal or reevaluate, or maybe where I'm projecting some past, trauma or something, from the past into the present, or where I'm future fantasizing. And last year, some of you have heard me say this, last year my phrase was I am perfectly present. And what I've learned with my phrases and then shifts, and this year my phrase is I'm divinely disciplined, is they compound like like money in a bank account, money compounding interest. So into this year, I've been focusing so much on being present. Like, okay, Katrina, what's this situation right now? What can you be and do right now? And then is there some kind of fear from the past that you're projecting, and or is there something that you are taking with that fear and then projecting into the future? And hold on. Let's breathe and focus in this moment, and let's do this in a space of faith and freedom. Okay. So speaking of, the Inner Child Workbook is on my personal to-do list, and I typically spend about 30 minutes to an hour every week, and I don't give myself like pressure around it, but I'm already over halfway through, and I got this book this year. Dance. So I mentioned the dance class. Transformation Church and serving. Likely I will go to the park, Chastain Park. Packing, continue to pack the apartment and whatnot, and a couple other things. And then back to the purpose focus, right? So I mentioned the launch with the course. Then I mentioned Apollo, the tool. And then then let's shift into Tuesday. And so I mentioned earlier on the Instagram reel, I am increasing again, doing Atlanta events and aligning, say, an event every single week, both either virtual and or physical. And so I'm going to reset up the meetup account that I had before. I already did a setup on Eventbrite. So those two things, you guys, meetups and Eventbrites, are other ways that you can list different things that are coming up. I do have Facebook groups, but I'm going to upgrade and elevate them and tie them to the freebies and automate the posts. So that is between Monday into Tuesday. And then Tuesday is looking at the pitch and revisions on my pitch deck with the business. And I am attending 2 workshops with Forecaster, which is an incredible tool and team that I learned about through Graham and Walker, which is an investor group that I am part of. And we just finished a 4-week fundraising lab alongside Amazon Web Services, which was amazing. And then I have a lot of white space within Tuesday too, in between those. Oh, and I'm also part of a co-working session that day online with Social Curators with Jasmine Starr. You can connect with her on Instagram. I love the Social Curator community and the tech and the tool. So that is coming up. Then into Wednesday, part of what I will be shifting then into is making more updates and changes to the Create It Summit, which is launching towards the end of June. So I'm super excited and grateful because I can already see how I'm 4 to 5 weeks in advance, which hasn't happened for a while. And in fact, the last time I can think about like using like the faith to align and be super proactive was back when I was in corporate, generating and creating 6+ figures that I was receiving and helping them create and generate 6 to 8 figures. So you can see more on my bio and all the stories and all the things there, and plus the blog and other episodes. Then there's another platform if you want to list your projects and different things, called Dribble, that I'm already on, but I want to update the profile because I found a great example by accident, not by accident. Then Wednesday, I will be, what is this? This is hilarious when you can't even read your own writing. Looks like I wrote Finca, but I know that's not it. Anyway, it's something on I'll have to look at Google because I always reinforce with Google. I know what it is. It's The Collective with Tamara Andres. So I was interviewed on Tamara's show, and I'll be sharing that with you guys too. Fit in Faith. Definitely check out her show. We talked about so many faith-driven divine downloads. Oh my God, such a vibe. So I've got that going on. And then Women's Entrepreneur Network, I meet online with on Wednesdays typically. The last couple of weeks I didn't because of the Investor Fundraising Lab. Then your girl is going to get her nails done. And then Thursday, I have some flex. Likely, I will work on the NFT project. I've already done the outline. I took a class via Skillshare. I already have 100 plus pieces of art and already have the exact next steps outlined. So the next step, likely on Thursday into Friday, will be setting up the website for the NFT launch. And I'm also excited because that is well in advance. And then I will update the influencer management deck because that is the next launch that is coming up after the course. So I want to pause there because some of you may be like, whoa, where is this going? So keep in mind, you can see how Monday is very front site focused. Then I have other projects and things on Tuesday. And then it's like medium term and then into long term. But here's the thing. This did not happen overnight. And the thing is like knowing your strengths and weaknesses and where to implement things like Chat GPT or AI tools or IO tools. Plus, I have a VA who always backs me up so that days or times or something that doesn't align or doesn't happen, I know that things are moving. Plus, over 75% of the business is automated and scaled via tools like Kajabi. And if you haven't checked out my 75 plus tools, definitely check that out. So hold on just a second, you guys, because my timer on Spotify is running out and I have a couple more things to share. So let me pause this and then we'll come right back. I am so excited and honored to partner with Spotify for podcasters. Ever since I connected with Spotify for podcasters, I feel like having options like video podcasts and Q&A and polls has helped me be creative on a whole new level. And if you didn't know, I want to thank all of you for listening because last year we reached top 100 in marketing. And some of the ways this was able to happen is because of the ability to have distribution on platforms like iTunes, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and more. Basically, everywhere and anywhere podcasts are in the world. I highly recommend you record your show on Spotify for podcasters. You can download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. If you want to make a podcast, Spotify's got this incredible platform to help you make one super easily and distribute it everywhere and anywhere and even earn money all in one place for free. Yes, for free with Spotify for podcasters. And here is how it works at a glance. You can record and edit your podcast and your shows right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you get to start creating it today, or like I like to say, #create it. Then you get to distribute it to Spotify and everywhere and anywhere podcasts are heard in the world. Video podcasts are also available. Plus, make sure you check out the different features that I mentioned earlier to get your fans, your friends, and your besties engaging in your show, like the Q&A and the polls to get people talking. And one tip, I've extended several of my podcasts out to the end of the year because that way you get people a chance to connect and create it. So, share with me if you record your first and or your next show with Spotify for podcasters. I would love to know. Tag me at Katrina Julia Fit at Fit Life Creation. And speaking of connecting and creating a conversation, also leave a review on my show with your new show, and I will make sure and shout out your show as well. And definitely check out all the ways that I spotlight and feature and connect with creators on my show and collaborations as well. So let's create it. Okay, I'm back. So it's hilarious that I started this episode at 7 minutes and then I ended up going deeper into this. Okay, so Thursday, I was at Thursday and the influencer management deck and talking about the short term versus the long term. And so the thing is keep in mind, again, none of this happened overnight. This is with time and intention and scaling and automation and implementing things like AI and IO tools. And definitely, I mentioned the tools. And keep in mind, within the last month alone, through some new AI and IO tools that I've shared in some of my recent episodes, like what I just mentioned, like ChatGPT, Apollo, others, definitely check out some of those short snapshot episodes. Like I've been able within this month alone to save over 15 hours a week of my time and cut down on some of my VA's time to refocus and reprioritize their activities. Because the thing is our time is truly you can always make back more money. And yes, the Bible tells us a day can be like 1,000 years and 1,000 years like a day. And I'm always like testing that and revolutionizing that in my own life. But at the same time, I can't get back May 14th, 2023. You know what I mean? Like that specific day and time. So I'm very, very mindful of how I choose to use my time. And is it aligned? Is it aligned with the dreams and desires and the purpose that I choose? And when I started asking that question, around 2013, especially when one of my besties, Janelle, got sick with cancer and passed away. And that's on an episode, I think like 2 to 3 months ago. You can see the story time episode and some others where I really dive deep into that. More and more and more, I started aligning my time and being accountable, both self accountability and group accountability. And so, where I am now in 2023 with my time versus, and definitely check out some of my recent episodes on time blocking versus, say, 2014, radically different. Radically different. And right now, for example, I'm increasing, and I was thinking about this past week, a lot more of my time is again on the business and on finances versus say last year this time was travel versus say 2013, 2014, 2015 I was doing fitness shows and was even more on working out because I was feeling a bit off. Say like I'm still working out, I'm still super healthy, but let's say I'm not lifting weights, twice a day. Like when I'm doing a show, I am doing bands, I am doing, lifting weights several times a week and doing dance and yoga and etc. And part of me like was recognizing this past week, like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that that's not happening. But then I remembered and I was like, wait a minute, Katrina, you're still eating super healthy. You're still aligned with Herbalife. You're still doing workouts. You're still, dancing. You're doing more of this. You're wanting and planning to do a dance show this year. But give yourself grace because right now is not the time for you to be lifting, say 7 to 12 times a week. You're lifting, like I'm lifting on average now, maybe 3 to 5 times a week, plus the bands, plus dance and yoga and other things. So the workouts are still there. Like I'm still about to hit like 10,000 minutes on Peloton, like on the app. Like it's crazy. So I was like, wait a minute, like look where you're at. And yes, you're not training for a show right now, but your focus and your alignment and your purpose is here right now. And that's perfect. You will be in a dance show, hope, prayerfully likely in August and then the show will be in November this year with Dance 101. And then depending on timing and some things, that's when I'll likely, or maybe September, start training for my next show or the next fitness photo shoot. Shout out, side note, you guys, if you haven't voted for me for Miss Health and Fitness, I shared that on a recent episode. I made it to the top 20. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please go still vote daily. Like giving myself the grace. So like recognizing sometimes we're in different seasons, like no matter what it is, and knowing like what your predominant focus is right now. Because my predominant focus is to get to financial vibrancy, financial freedom. Like all of that is paramount while still maintaining in certain areas, but I'm choosing not to train for a fitness show right now. And I don't quote unquote need to have a coach. I can still do it. I still have the workouts right now, but I'm choosing to refocus my time or focus my time in other areas and realms. Okay. And then the last thing I want to say is that as I was writing out like my notes and infinite possibilities, I wrote out like some of the next things I'm sharing on social. And then I also wrote down what's coming, like wellness at the works. I was going to go yesterday to wellness at the works with ATL Girl Gang, but the weather looks super like yucky, and I wanted like beautiful. I wanted to have a good time, which I'm sure I would have. B, I wasn't sure about the rain. C, I wanted to have beautiful also pictures and videos with blue skies. So I was like, you know what? I'm really focused on this, this, and this right now. Let me just stay home and let me go to the Wellness at the Works event on the 27th. And then also wrote down some upcoming ATL Rising Women events. So definitely check that out. The founder, I've talked about this on a previous episode, Tara, is amazing. And some of the upcoming events are there's a hike coming up on the 7th and some other things as well. So I hope this is helpful to help inspire you to create it like a boss. Oh, and my Saturday right now is flexible. So that kind of gives you some insider information and behind the scenes with an entrepreneur and all the things. So there will be more episodes coming up on influencer marketing, into influencer management, some of the campaigns, activations this week, into next week. And then towards the end of this month, you guys, drum roll please, I am doing a series on all the single ladies. So shout out to Beyonce for the title. Whoop, whoop. And just a lot. It's so interesting being back in Atlanta the last year or so. And I'll be sharing some, background insights, as a woman, as, different, hopefully different guests, different things, different perspectives. And I really, really hope it serves you because I know on both sides, men and women, there's like a lot of things look really different in a lot of ways. And I've shared, in the past on my journey and choice to be abstinent since actually the end of 2010 now. And if you would have told me I would still be waiting to be married at this point, I'd have been like, you're crazy. There's no way I'm going to make it. # but God. So I'll be sharing on all the single ladies. And then we will get into episodes on aligning to the CREATEIT Summit and more of that's coming with the CREATEIT Summit launch and a higher end ticket opportunity as well. So we're going to go through series on faith, wellness, money, marketing, biz, and travel that align directly to the summit. So definitely keep an eye out for that. If you are not yet on my newsletter list, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And then if you haven't checked out the 75 plus tools I mentioned, like, what are you even doing? Like, are you even living? So leave a review on the show. Would love to shout you out on the show. And friends, as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire because you are born to. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel so you create a life and business already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagement. Let's create it.